Black Eel Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Mike. So let's get right into this. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about two trailers. We're going to be talking about Kite-Man Hell Yeah. And then we're going to be doing some death battles that we're going to discuss more when we get to it. They're going to be counterparts of each other from Marvel and the DC Universe, and seeing in our mind who we think my apologies. Who we think is going to actually win the death battle.
And hopefully Scott will be able to pay focus this entire
Yeah, it's
episode.
probably not going to happen. But anyway, so let's get right into the trailer. So Craven, I think most of that trailer I think we've seen. It,
It kind of looked pretty new to me.
I don't know. I think some of the fight scenes look very similar. The big difference was that we finally got the full glimpse of Rhino in action.
Yes. Yep.
Which
Um,
I'm kind of confused by. Because no, like I know Rhino is the bad guy in this one, if you want to call it that. My
at least
confusion,
one of them.
yeah, because like my confusion is like it seems like he was going after everyone that his dad worked for at first, and then all of a sudden this guy is now going after, um, what's it called, the Rhino, who comes out of nowhere. But I'm wondering if he's part of like the group, and then he just injects himself with the serum to make him Rhino.
That's kind of how I took it. That Craven was going after his dad's organization, whatever, and then Rhino is a part of it, and Rhino is basically in the way to get to his father. It's kind of how I was taking it.
That's fair. I think it's just because it's the trailers and we were not supposed to get all the information, so I get it.
I mean, it's typical Sony. They're just throwing a bunch of stuff into a movie and hoping that it works out. And I mean,
And I think that's
so
kind of
far
where
I'm
I'm
not
going.
too impressed with this. Yeah, so far I'm just not too impressed.
I mean, I'll say
And
this, and I think I said this to you a while ago, but this is not like my definition of a superhero movie, like a comic book movie. This is more of just like an action movie, in my opinion.
this in this term, like with the way that they're going, it seems like they're doing like the early 2000s style of superhero movies where they take the character and just like throw it in an action movie with no with like no relation to like how it's supposed to be. They're just like doing their best.
Correct, but I also think too, out of all the characters, this would make the most sense to do that, though,
This one would work, but
if
it
done
just
correctly.
has
If
that
done
feel.
correctly.
Yeah, and I mean, as we've talked about a bunch of times before, it's Sony. So far, the
Correct.
only time Sony has been correct done good is with Venom, and in
Yeah.
recently at least.
No, agreed. I
Um,
I mean, I'm going to agree with you on that one. I think it's just one of those things where it's like, out of all the characters that they could do, this one makes the most sense to do it that way. However, it
yeah,
just doesn't look right because they're making him more animalistic, in my opinion, than in the comics. And I think what I mean by that is it's I don't know. It seems less of him like doing it for the good of the hunt in this one, and he's just doing it to get revenge.
yeah, absolutely. Uh-huh. I mean,
Which
they could throw a twist in, and like this is an origin story, so obviously it's already different from what the comics origin is
well,
going
we
to be.
know, yeah, like how he becomes Craven the Hunter is completely different. He gets bitten by a lion.
Yeah, and his DNA gets fused.
As
So
Sony.
I mean,
I'm assuming there's more to it than just that.
I hope so.
But at the same time, who knows? But
Let's tie it to Spider-Man. Let's have a radioactive lion infect him.
well, my thought process is because if that scientist works with his dad, it would have make sense that he was probably given some sort of test material beforehand,
Yeah,
and then the bite of the lion exacerbated the issue. would be my guess. Um,
Yeah.
but based on what we see in the trailers, that's not at all what happens.
So far from what we've seen, yeah, it doesn't look like that.
Correct.
Quick side note, actually, seeing that we're talking about Sony, I don't know if you heard this. I've been seeing it a lot lately that apparently the MCU, whenever they use Spider-Man, if Sony has ever used a Spider-Man villain, then the MCU is not allowed to use them.
So I heard that, and it doesn't make sense to me.
I'm assuming it's a modern thing in terms of like modern villains. If the Sonyverse has used the Spider-Man villains recently, then they're not allowed to use them because obviously they've used Green Goblin and Dr. Octavius in the past. So I'm wondering if it's like a new contract kind of thing. So like they can't
Well,
use Rhino, they can't
well,
use
I'm wondering because technically they were the same one.
technically.
So I'm wondering if that's didn't matter because of that, because they did use all the same. Like,
Oh, okay, because it's not a new
it
MCU
wasn't a new take on it;
character.
it was one that Sony already created.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering if that might change some things too. However, I don't know. That's just weird to me. I mean,
it is a weird.
I'll say this: there are a lot of Spider-Man villains.
Yeah,
However, it's just weird to me because it's like right off the bat, right? No Green Goblin, no Doctor Octavius, no Venom, no Sandman,
technically.
Electro, um,
Lizard.
Lizard. Thank you, Rhino.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
I mean, at least like so. I mean, if you want to get technical, you could if you want to introduce a goblin. Obviously, you have the Hobgoblin. I know,
that's
obviously,
true.
the Green Goblin is the more well-known one, but I mean, technically, wasn't Hobgoblin Spider-Man villain before Green Goblin? So,
Um, I don't think in the comics, but I think in the animated show he was. In the animated show, he
oh,
100.
I thought the animated show was actually more accurate than to the comics than the movies. Was it not?
I know, well, one, yes. I mean, it was 100% definitely more accurate than the movies. However, I don't know. I don't know if the Hobgoblin was actually first.
I'll look it up right now.
That's
Keep talking.
exactly what I'm doing too.
Oh, are you? But yeah, no, it's an interesting stipulation for
All right, so Hobgoblin was 1983.
Green Goblin was 1964.
Yeah, so I was
Okay, I
right.
was wrong.
No, but I know in the animated series they introduced the Hobgoblin first. But I think that had to do more with the fact of establishing, sorry, um, Norman Osborn,
Yeah,
because Norman Osborn is more of a character than the guy who becomes Hobgoblin.
yeah,
Hobgoblin's really just Hobgoblin. He's just a thief that becomes the Hobgoblin. Where
yeah,
Norman Osborn is a scientist, crazy man, you know what I mean? Horrible father. Like you add all that stuff together and you want that first, and then you get the Green Goblin who then exacerbates his issue and also makes Norman better, which is weird to say.
yeah. No, it makes sense.
But anyway, no. So
I don't know. I thought I remember somewhere that it was the Hobgoblin was first, but
no, I think it was just in the animated series that he. Well, obviously he. I know for a fact he came first because like
in
I
the
thought it
animated series, yes.
because I thought it was weird that Hobgoblin was first in the animated show. However, it made
Yeah,
sense. But for
the
me,
way they did it, it did make sense.
no, 100%.
Um,
But yes, that's just weird to me because it's like okay, so they could do they could do Hobgoblin, they could do Black Cat,
yep,
um, they can do
Black Cat would
Venom.
be good, especially
Black
with the
Cat would make
situation right
sense.
now where MJ, at least at the moment, doesn't know who Peter is.
Yep. We also have and she can become a hero or like part like she's legitimately the Catwoman of that
Yeah, anti-hero.
Yeah, and she becomes more of a hero at certain points.
Um, there is a so many. Like, I mean, we
Yeah,
have the villains from
but
the
then again,
Spider-Man
like what?
games.
But then it's also like what counts as like Sony using it before? Because isn't like would Into the Spider Verse count?
Possibly, yeah.
Because
I mean,
that
well then,
means,
I mean, no, I don't think that would work because obviously Kingpin's a major villain, and now Kingpin's in the MCU.
but Kingpin's a different. Kingpin's a weird character because he's
Kingpin's not a technically a Spider-Man villain. It's just an overarching villain.
so he originally was a Spider-Man villain. Same thing with I believe Doctor Doom at one point as well.
Oh,
Um,
really?
in the very beginning, I'm talking in the very very beginning.
That's an interesting
Not
one.
to say that the Fantastic Four weren't involved, but like Peter Parker's enemies were like Doctor Doom. Like you understand, like there was a weird group of people. Like you would
Yeah,
never expect to. Like he goes toe to toe with them now, but they're not his main villains anymore. Like Kingpin is more fluctuant with him, but it's normally when he's a street hero, and when he's not, it's Daredevil that takes over.
yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, so I mean, like I said, it's kind of cool in that sense, but like also weird because like they have a lot of villains, but they don't at the same time, or at least not a lot of
Hmm.
good ones. I'll say that. Like Batman has a lot of
Not a
villains,
lot, a
but
lot of
not
not a lot of major ones.
yeah. Like Batman has a lot of villains, but you can easily run out of the good ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
Um,
the thing with movies and shows and whatever is even if you don't have a lot of good ones, if they're done right, you can make them good. I mean, so you can really
yes,
establish a character.
yes. I you know what? I will give you that because look at Polka Dot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I will give you that. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's just I'm interested in it. Like I'm interested in Craven, but I'm not like jumping at the bit to go see it.
Yeah, obviously we're gonna see it, but it's not like we're super thrilled about it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those where it's like, oh, I don't think it's gonna be to the same degree, but like I feel like it's gonna be one of those where it's like, oh, it's the Justice League. We're gonna have to watch it. You know what I mean?
No, this was you for Shazam.
I was so mad because they ruined the movie
Yeah.
for me in the trailers. I was so mad. But anyway, I mean, I did see it. I was actually excited for it before all the trailers came out, which is such a weird thing to say.
Yeah, no, I know. You as soon as you saw the trailers, you're like, well, I don't really care about this movie anymore, and
No,
you
because
were
they,
just so reluctant to see it.
and to be fair though, I eventually did see it, obviously, but like it was
Yeah,
legitimately what they showed in the trailers. I mean, obviously it was more exaggerated and it's stretched out, but it was literally what they showed in the trailers,
yeah,
and I was
yeah.
disappointed.
That's the problem with modern trailers is they show the plot of the movie because people don't have the attention span to actually see the story play out. So
I don't know. I feel
modern
like they
audiences
surprises.
don't like stories being played out.
Well,
It's pretty sad.
my whole thing was that they could have done the trailer differently, and I still would have been surprised with certain things.
Yeah, true. I mean, they
But
could
they
have,
didn't. They
but
didn't do that. Anyway,
yeah,
so yeah, so that I mean, like I said, I'm looking. I mean, we're gonna watch it, and we'll just see how it goes. Let's get into the next trailer, which was the which had some controversy apparently, or a lot of hate.
did
I'll
it
say
really?
it was the Thunderbolts.
I didn't see any of the hate. Yeah, the Thunderbolts. I
Uh,
didn't see any of the hate.
apparently, a lot of people didn't like their suits that they showed.
Oh my god, the suits thing again.
So my whole thing is, it's like I don't care.
I saw one. Actually, I did see one thing that they were not happy with. Uh,
Ghost,
Ghost's suit. Yeah.
because
I didn't see anything else.
so they
I
complained
did think
about,
Ghost's suit was a little wonky, but
but at the same time, we also didn't really see it either. Like meaning, like we didn't
yeah,
see
it
the
was just a
full.
quick slide by. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I mean.
I saw pictures of it, like people taking screenshots of it and whatever, and I mean, like I was like, okay, that's interesting, but I'm
I
not like,
agree. My whole thing is, it's like so, like they were. I personally thought U.S. agent who was formerly Captain America.
yep,
His is comic book accurate, in my opinion. Um, his costume looks like verbatim like the comic, in my opinion. Um,
Does it? Yeah,
yeah.
that's good.
Everyone else, I mean, no. Well, Taskmaster looks actually pretty good. I'll say that. But he looks good. I mean, she looked good in Widow. You know what I'm saying? Like the
She looked good in
costume.
Widow until we found out like the actual character.
When we find out who was behind the mask, but I mean, the mask and everything else, like the costume was phenomenal. Like it was comic book accurate. I mean, the
Yeah,
weapons and everything else were perfect. And it
yeah.
still
No,
looks
they
to be
they did a
this.
good job with that.
They still look like they did the same thing. However, my issue is that it looks like she takes off her mask a lot, which I have a problem with.
I don't remember honestly.
So
That I can't say. I don't.
in Black Widow, when we see the reveal of her being Taskmaster, it wasn't her taking the mask off. Black Widow knocked it off. So, like, to me, that's
Yeah,
fine. However, it
yeah.
looks like in this one, she takes off her mask a lot, or like she doesn't have it on, I'll say. And
Hmm,
it's just a little weird to me.
that would be weird. I don't remember that part of the trailer, but obviously, if that's the case, then yes, that is
Because there's a point where
pretty
she's got
weird.
the bow and arrow and she starts shooting exploding arrows, and she doesn't have her mask on at the time.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. It's like I have no problem with her revealing her face when they're together and stuff. Like when they're on a
Yeah,
mission, I would
if
imagine
they're
that.
out, if she's out fighting, they need to keep the mask on.
Yeah, that's just me. I mean, again, that's just because of me. But yeah, I mean,
It's how we
overall, I
know
mean,
the characters.
the trailer. I mean, they pretty much just gave us like an extended like roster list. Not really a roster list, but an extended like view on the characters. Um, a little bit
Yeah,
better.
a little bit more of where they were in life before they got roped into the
But what
Thunderbolts.
I like though that they, which I'm why I'm happy with them and not DC, is that they're not telling us why yet, and they're not going to in the trailers. And I'm okay. Like we have an idea of some of them, like how they're in there, but like
Yeah.
I don't think we don't know why they're all together yet.
No, we don't know. Obviously, we've seen
We
in past
we
projects
we
that they're
know
they're forming a group.
because they're going to be the United States, like, or attempting to be the United States version of Avengers.
Yeah, yeah. They're a makeshift Avengers group. If in case the Avengers isn't around to do anything, they have
Well,
someone
it's
to.
I think it's more of the fact that and I think it plays into more of Captain America 4, where they're looking to build an Avengers team run by the government, and this is their
Yeah,
version of that. So, like,
yeah.
granted, it's. I also am curious at how Winter Soldier gets involved because out of all
Hmm.
of them, all of the others make sense to me
Yep.
except for him. And not in a bad way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it in any horrible way whatsoever. I'm just stating, like, at least all the other characters make sense to me why they're there.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
without
Again,
knowing without knowing any backstory whatsoever, right? Without knowing any more of the plot or anything like that, everyone like going into this makes sense to be in the movie except for Winter Soldier. And
yeah.
obviously, they're gonna make it clear why. But I mean, for right now, we don't know.
Like I said, every other character had a in their past project had a tie-in to get recruited into the Thunderbolts, except for Red Guardian wasn't. But I mean, it's Red Guardian, so
No, but we saw that in the trailer where she finds him, his daughter finds him.
yes,
So it's
yes,
like that doesn't really ruin anything because let's be honest, that's the only way they're gonna find him
yeah.
because nobody else is gonna
And
be
then
looking for him.
obviously, like you said, Winter Soldier, we don't know, but
No,
hopefully we'll
and
get
then
an
everyone
explanation
else.
for
I
that.
mean, obviously, U.S. Agent and White Widow, the two of them have worked with V before, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
they got
Um,
recruited. Winter Soldier, U.S. Agent was recruited at the end of uh, Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier, and
yep.
then White Widow was recruited at the end of Black Widow.
Yes.
Um, so,
Um,
and then obviously Taskmaster already is, it.
Well, that one, like, obviously they escaped, and so I'm curious on how they got involved. But like, it, I feel like they must have been captured and was put into the prison along with the rest of the prisoners, like Baron
Mhm.
Zemo, Ghost,
Yeah,
like all those. You know what I mean? Like that makes sense to me.
because they're prisoners, they're already properties of the government, so they have no choice.
Correct.
Um, but yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this.
This one I'm looking forward to. I'm very curious because the rumor is, and I think it's a, I don't think it's is it a confirmed rumor that Sentry is going to be the main villain.
I had heard that. I don't know if it's
Okay.
confirmed, but
No,
I've
no.
heard that.
So I know that there were a lot of rumors about it. I couldn't remember if it was actually proven or not. Like it was actually like stated.
I think it is. The issue became that they couldn't the actor that they were going to originally use dropped out of the movie, so they were kind of scrambling to find another actor for him.
Okay. Um,
Um,
no, you know
the
what?
act
You're right. We
they
did know because I did a character
yeah
spotlight on Sentry.
yeah the actor was I think the actor who was going to play him, if I remember correctly, was Glenn from The Walking Dead,
Yes, I believe you're correct.
and then he backed out. So
Oh, I didn't
obviously
realize he
we'll see what
backed out.
happens.
I didn't realize he backed out. But yeah, so he so anyway, so the villain is supposed to be Sentry, who I'm curious to see how that goes because it's I mean obviously you know that he's like he's one of the Marvel's attempts to copy Superman.
Yeah, he's a Superman ripoff. So I mean, obviously, we'll see how that goes. If he's going to be the main villain, how they're going to attack Superman, you know? So
But again, like I told you, it might not be Sentry that's the bad guy. It's Void, who is literally the same person.
yeah, but I mean, either way, we'll see how
No,
that
I know it's
goes.
just a weird. It's a weird thing with that. But anyway, so yeah. So now let's go into talking about Kite-Man Hell Yeah. So this one threw me off. This episode actually had plot.
I was not a fan of this episode.
What did you not like, Mike? Because I'm very curious.
That it had plot.
Um,
it
I
was it.
so it starts. It started off like a regular episode, right?
Yep.
Like it was the antics of everything else. We had some weird stuff happening, which was fine, which is what we expect. I
Yep.
think the part that throws me off, and I think this is probably the part that throws you off too, is, and I said this in my own video. So the main point was apparently the disconnect between Golden Glider and Amal. That was the main point of the story. And then apparently the main point of the series now is apparently Villigans is doing something to give people powers to further their goal to get the package that they're looking for, which my assumption as of right now is the anti-life equation, but doesn't make any sense to me that she would know about the anti-life equation, but at the same time does make sense because she has all the data on everyone, so she would know what Lex Luthor bought.
Yeah. Now that we saw that, where it's like we literally saw Kite Man's search history, so she has access to
And we
everything.
have and we have Bane's credit card number.
Yeah. Yep. But
That's my debit card. No. um so that's what threw me off the most because they really kind of like I feel like that particular character came out of nowhere and is now being like I hate saying it this way, but almost like dark side adjacent.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Now you know what I mean by that. Like I'm obviously not like power wise. I'm talking about like
Wanting the anti-life equation. Yeah.
yeah, which is just I don't know. It's just a little weird to me. I'm a little confused by it. I'm not 100% sold on it. However,
It it just it just
I
felt weird because obviously this when the series started, it was obviously Lex Luthor with the anti-life equation, and since episode 2, we haven't seen him. Darkseid, same things, wanting the anti-life equation, and since episode 1, we haven't seen him. So it's now this character's come in, and which we assumed was going to be just a minor character has actually become the overarching villain.
well, the fact that Villigans was like a major role to begin with was a shock to me because I thought it was going to be a one-off thing like you did,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden the next episode it's like I am the CEO of Villigans, and she continues to be a main villain, and I'm very weird to say that because like I don't even know if villain's the right word, but like definitely like arch enemy, I guess is a better way to phrase it, because like villain's a tough phrase for me right now because that, especially in a show like this, lines are blurred completely.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously everybody's a villain, but it's like one's more of a villain than the other.
Correct. No, agreed. And like,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, so my whole thing was like, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
I'm
Okay.
okay. I'm not gonna say I didn't. I did
I
not
didn't
hate it,
understand it.
but it just like it didn't feel like it fit with the rest of the season so far, at least to me.
I'm gonna agree with you. I think for me it was just one of those things where it's like, I agree. I felt like it came out of nowhere and like didn't do anything.
Yeah,
And maybe it does for later episodes. Obviously it should. But like I don't understand the connection between making Kite Man superpowered,
the douche.
yes, but technically superpowered. Um,
Super douche.
well, no, that's his superpower.
I know, I
Um,
know.
so I don't understand how that connects to her getting what she wants, and I think that's where I have my confusion here, and I think that's what made it seem. Now I don't want to say stupid, but like
Out of place.
unnecessary.
Yeah,
Unnecessary, at least for right now.
we'll see. Hopefully, I mean, obviously, next episode is going to give a little bit more. So, I mean, we have to wait and
Yeah.
see.
And so the
Um,
other thing I wanted to talk about, because that was like the main I think issue that both of us had of the episode.
yeah,
Um, however, Malice, Golden Glider's mother, and Golden Glider, the funniest threesome night we
yeah,
have ever seen, because Malice and Golden Glider's mother get along perfectly,
yep.
and Golden Glider was jealous.
Very jealous. Golden Glider's mother just doesn't want anything to do with her,
Hmm.
and everybody sees that except for her.
Which is the part that confuses me, because I mean, I guess it's. I would imagine it's probably like, um, what's it called? Like you have like that lens in front of you where you don't see it because it's like, oh, it's my mom. Like she clearly has to love me or whatever, and it's like this woman does not care about you.
Yep.
Like, and
I
again,
mean,
she,
it happens a lot in the real world where, like sometimes when like kids go up for adoption, they like, oh, I want to meet my birth parents, and then they try their best to see their birth parents, and then when they finally do, uh, the parents are like, why? I got rid of you for a reason. Like it happens in real life, and it's sad, but I mean, sometimes it does happen.
yeah, I just find it funny in the sense of like everyone else can see it, and like, but she's also been very obvious. Like she hasn't like sugarcoated it.
No,
Like she,
no, it's been
I think the thing that kills me is it's like she's been very upfront and honest about it from the get go, being like, "No, I don't want to be a part of this."
Golden Glider like sees it, she just doesn't understand it.
I I think you're right because in her mind, she thought the reason why they didn't have a relationship was because she killed her. And granted, it might have been in one universe or timeline,
Hmm.
but clearly it wouldn't have been all that great if they, survived to begin with.
I mean, she says in the episode, she's like, "You killed your father. Why would I want to risk my life to be with you?" It's like you hated your husband. Now all of a sudden, it's like sad that she killed her, killed
I
him.
don't think it was sad. I think it was more the fact of like she said it like in the sense of like you killed your father, more likely you're going to kill me too.
Yeah.
That's how I took it.
No,
Um,
it is.
but yeah, I mean, so we had that, and then we had Queen of Fables, and what is
That
his
was
name?
weird. I forget. I know the dead one is Joe.
Yes. Anyway, it was a weird. I thought it was weird that they were showing way too much of them in the
Yeah.
beginning because I was like, something's obviously happening because what's going on? And then they began to fight each other and then get aroused by each other.
It's so weird.
Well, it's weird because they share a body, but like whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
I just like
Yeah.
how it. So my other issue too is it's like he's half dead technically.
Yep. Yep.
So like I don't know. It's just a weird. It's a weird thing. Um,
I liked when he was given the sermon for his dead brother, and Bane is giving his inner monologue, and Bane can't control his inner monologue.
What do you mean you can hear me? My inner monologue is released again. No.
And it happened what 3 times in the episode. So that was actually
No,
pretty
well,
funny.
no, there was so I think it was 3 times, but there was one time where it was like partially internal, partially not, and he's like, "What part was out loud?"
Well, no, all of them were partially internal and partially out.
Oh, I don't think I registered that. I thought they were
Because
all
if
external.
if you look, you know when it's the inner monologue because his mouth isn't moving, and then when it turns into the him actually saying it, his mouth is actually moving. So like
Okay,
you can tell,
okay.
and it
No,
was it was
I
so
don't.
funny.
No, it was funny. Bane is my favorite character.
And then
Um,
obviously him in bed with the nipple clamps.
yeah, yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it just
I mean,
starts crying. Oh, I'm so sorry. No, no, you twisted the clamps that you put on earlier. Oh,
yeah, it was definitely it was an interesting episode. It had the humor that we were looking for and everything else, but I think it was missing. I think the part that killed me was the end, where Beast he's not Kite Man anymore. He's Beast Mode,
yeah, beast mode.
and I'm not a fan. But
I'm
we'll
not.
see what happens. However, we did glaze over the fact of there was a cameo where what is his name? The demon
Oh, oh my God.
Endridge.
Et, et,
Endridge.
no. Oh my God. The demon of rhymes.
No, I know that, and I just like how he works at a Villigan's now.
Yeah, he used to be his own shop, and they got bought out.
We got bought out by
Etrigan.
Villigan's. Edrican, thank you. Um, yeah, I thought that was kind of cool to see him. We saw him in a very different light, obviously.
He was so grumpy.
Well, he was depressed because he's been bought technically.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. I thought that was kind of cool. It made sense, obviously. But I don't know. I'm very curious to see where the rest of the season goes because I'm not. I'm a little confused. I guess the best way to
And
phrase it.
obviously, the Golden Glider sends her mom back to the past. So, I wonder
But
if
we
she's
don't
gonna
know
end up
for a
dying.
fact she did or not. Like it's alluded, yes. But I know this is going to sound weird to say. Like we didn't see anything actually happen.
Well, she said she's gonna go take a poop,
I
and
know, I know. And the assumption is but we both know that that doesn't mean it's actually happening.
doesn't mean it actually happens, but I'm assuming it did because now her mom's story is done.
Makes sense. Um, plot twist: her mom turns into the CEO of Illigan's. Anyway, we know that's not the case. But anyway, that's it for that. Want to get right into the counterparts?
Before we do that, just real quick, touch up. Penguin is going to be premiering on September
Oh,
19th, which is a Thursday, and then after their premiere is going to air every Sunday at 9 a.m.
but not the first Sunday. It's
But
only
not the first Sunday. It's going to be the following Sunday,
yep.
which is very. I don't understand why they're doing that. Yeah, it's weird.
I'm wondering if there's something that's premiering that weekend
Maybe.
because that's the only thing
Eh,
that would make sense to me. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Um, but on paper right now, it doesn't make sense. I just think that's a little stupid, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if the first episode or first, I don't even know how many episodes are premiering. Like, if the premiere is successful and you give people a break, and they're gonna forget about it.
I mean, the good thing is it's only like 10 days, so it's not as bad.
It's not the end of the world.
It's awkward because it's longer than a week.
Yeah, it's weird. If the
Agreed.
show ends up being a success, people go on to watch it and it's not there, they're gonna be oh, and then I mean, again, like you said, it's basically just a week, but still weird. Why not just do that from the beginning?
Agreed. Are you ready?
Yep. Let's see what you come up with.
The first one we're gonna do is Wasp from Marvel versus Bumblebee from DC.
Okay. You gonna give any like backstory for me, or am I just gonna?
Do you honestly not know who Bumblebee is?
No, I do, but I
You
didn't
don't
know
know
if
who
you did.
Wasp is?
Oh my God. Are you gonna give me give any information before, or are we just gonna talk about it? Like what?
No, no, no. I feel like no. Because so what I thought we were gonna do was we would say their names and then talk about like who we think would win.
Okay. Well, I mean, either way,
So my question for you is for Bumblebee, can she shrink her size? I can't remember.
I'm gonna look up information so that way I can make sure that am I get their
Because like
information
I
correct.
remember her from Teen Titans, obviously.
She was in was she was I think she was also in the she was in Justice League Unlimited, no?
I don't think so because I don't think she was. If she was, I'm surprised because I thought that was around the same time as Teen Titans. Or
I mean it is, but all right, so just to get a full overview of her powers.
mhm.
Genius level intellect, shrinking to insect-like size.
Okay,
Uh, her suit is solar powered, which enables her to fly. She has fire sonic force blast, and she has electrical stingers.
okay. And Wasp obviously can shrink to um like semi what's it called? Well, to the quantum realm, obviously. So she can go to subatomic particle size. She cannot grow. She cannot. She can grow herself back to normal size. However, she cannot grow past that.
Mm.
Um, she has energy blasts slash weaponry that she uses to shoot. Um, I they're like a. I don't want to say they're electric because I feel like they're more like a wasp. Like it's supposed to be like a wasp bite, but like so it like stings, but it doesn't like it's not it's like an energy blast, but it's supposed to hurt in the sense of like well obviously it's supposed to hurt. But I mean like
It would be
it's
kind of pointless if it didn't.
correct. But I mean like I don't think it's like an electrical thing, but it might have some electrical components to it. I think it's more of just like an energy blast than anything else. But it's supposed to be like her wasp bite slash wasp, you know what I mean, attack. So it's
Yeah,
supposed to be like the kick that a wasp does better than a bee. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? In my opinion, though, I think Bumblebee has a better arsenal. I think Bumblebee has a better arsenal. Sorry, I think Bumblebee has a better arsenal. I think the only thing that's going to be a huge factor in this is the fact that Wasp can go much smaller than Bumblebee.
Waspin can. So here's my thing. Wasp can go smaller, but isn't it? But Wasp can only go so small to the point that she can control it, correct? Like if she gets too small, then she loses control. So like yeah, she could go subatomic, but then that she like she'll get lost, right? Or is that only like movie thing?
Well, okay, so here's my question. So, like, you're correct, but she's been training. Are we talking like peak here? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
So you're trying to say that so eventually she learns to just do
I
it
mean, I don't know if she can necessarily control to go that small, like consistently, but she can definitely get smaller than an insect. I think
smaller than an insect or small as an insect.
no smaller. Well, no, we know she can do an insect without a problem. I think she can
Yeah,
get even smaller than that. Um, but I think that's not her. I think, to be honest with you, I think the insect size is probably her comfort zone.
yeah.
So, but I feel like she could, to get the upper hand on Bumblebee, shrink temporarily, grow herself back to the insect size, and attack Bumblebee that way.
Okay.
That
Now
being
here's my
said,
question. Here's
but
my
that's my
question for you
own.
for
Yeah, I'm
Wasp.
sorry.
What is her intellect?
That's the other issue I have because I think she's smart, but she's not Hank Pym smart. So like, she's definitely above average intelligence. I think she's considered genius level intellect, but I when I say that a lot of people have
A
that.
lot of, a lot of.
So it's like it doesn't mean a lot of what it actually means. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
let
like
me see.
it's like they say the same thing about friggin' Reed Richards, and he's the smartest being in the universe.
That's true.
Um, Give me 2 seconds. I'm actually looking it up because I'm very curious
Okay.
on how they describe her intellect.
Um, so I did just look up.
Aha!
Hmm,
She is not considered a genius level intellect.
Okay, so
She's considered a talented fashion designer, multilingual, gifted leader, amateur screenwriter, and expert combatant.
because those are such powerful.
Well, no, expert combatant definitely helps her for sure.
Expert combatant, yes. Leader, yes.
Yes,
But
the
the
other
other,
two, no, no, I
not
agree.
at all.
My whole thing was like when I read that, I was like, oh, never mind. But so my whole thing is, it's like I think Bumblebee overall would have the strategy to beat Wasp. My only question would be, would Bumblebee be able to come up with a plan for somebody who has the potential, I say potential, to get smaller than her?
So I think that with her being genius level intellect, as soon as if Wasp, unless Wasp saves the super shrinkage for a like last ditch effort to kill Bumblebee, if she were to just do it like willy nilly, or if she did it one time and it failed and she tried it again, Bumblebee will see that and say, okay, she has the ability to do this. I have to plan for if she can do it again. So,
So my whole thing with that is, one, I think you're correct, but I think you're off a bit. I think she's gonna think in her mind, okay, if she can get as small as me, can she potentially get smaller than me? So I think she'd have a
also true.
plan before, like once she realizes she can shrink like her. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
think her next question would be, okay, I need to have a plan in case she gets smaller than me.
that's also true. I think no
Um,
matter what, at the end of the day, I think Bumblebee has the advantage, and I think Bumblebee can defeat Wasp
I'm gonna
with the
agree with
knowledge
you.
that we have.
With the knowledge you have, I agree with you. But like I said, I think the only deciding factor was Wasp getting smaller than Bumblebee. Because
I
every
think the deciding factor, not the fact that she can get smaller than her, is how small she can get and whether she can control it or not.
Also true. And the reason why I say that was a bigger factor, because I feel like when it comes to fighting, I would imagine they're equal. When it comes to intellect, obviously Bumblebee's got the edge. When it comes
Mhm.
to tech, Bumblebee has an edge. Um, and I think it would come down to that, because that is a huge deciding factor, because they use their size for their advantage for obvious reasons.
Yep.
And if one can get smaller than the other, they technically have the advantage.
Yes.
Um, Not to say she couldn't outdo it. I'm just stating like it was definitely going to be a bigger problem for her.
Oh
But
yes,
based on our knowledge, I'm going to go with Bumblebee as well. You ready for the
I
next
agree.
one?
Yeah, round two. How many of these are we doing?
As many as we can. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna. If we only do two, we only do two.
Okay.
This one I know you and I have talked about before. Ultron versus Brainiac.
This one's a tough one. This
This one is
one's
the toughest one because when I think of Brainiac, I think of him as a living organism.
yep,
Now, granted, a very intelligent organism, but an organism nonetheless. Ultron
yep,
is an AI.
yep. Pure AI. Yep, pure
And
AI.
so I don't know. I think my issue is it's like, can Brainiac be controlled by an AI? And like my assumption could be yes, he could, because he's got all those machine parts on him, and he uses his his technology to communicate throughout all his entire army. But would somebody like Ultron be able to hack into the system and take it over?
Well, so yes, Brainiac is Brainiac's a weird situation because
Because
although
he's
he is
Organic.
organic, and obviously we have different situations where he's not. Like with my Adventures with Superman, he was a pure computer system. He Think of him like, if you remember in the Teen Titans series when we were kids, Fix It, Fix It. The episode where Cyborg got lost in the sewers and a bunch of robots came and was like, "Oh, we have to fix you because you have to turn you to pure robot because the human side of him was
I get what
broken."
you're saying. I get what you're saying.
So Brainiac is basically he's a living organism, but he's turned himself into a machine. So Brainiac has basically full control over all machinery, similar to what Ultron has the potential to do.
Why'd you say it like that?
Because obviously, from what we've seen, or from what most of I've seen, he has full control over it. But if there's another system, it can fight him, and he's not always successful. That's why. That's
Okay,
what I was getting
that's fair. I understand what you're saying.
at.
So
Brainiac, Brainiac kind of become like Brainiac like becomes the machine, and like it's weird.
no, I know it's a weird combination because it's like Brainiac. So like I know Brainiac does have machine parts and he becomes more machine-like. However, he's still an organic organism, and so because of that, I don't like. I feel like technically we could claim him to be very similar to Vision.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's a safer bet. So technically, Ultron has the ability to take over Brainiac, right? And I'm not saying Brainiac isn't going to resist or anything like that. I'm saying he has proven he has the potential to be able to do something of that nature.
Brainiac also has the ability to do the same to Ultron.
No, I'm not arguing that. I'm stating what I'm getting at is because at first I wasn't even sure if Ultron could. I know Brainiac could.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
like now we're at least at the point where Ultron can do it. I think though Brainiac is superior for a lot of reasons because Brainiac doesn't have flaws.
Yeah, no.
Ultron has many flaws,
So like,
emotional
if
flaws, which is a problem.
huh?
Ultron has emotional flaws.
Oh yeah. I think if we're looking at it from obviously if we're looking at it from peak of each character, that is like especially the emotional, but Ultron's never really conquered his flaws, whereas Brainiac, as he evolved,
He fixes any issues he's ever
he
had.
fixes his issues as he evolves. And I mean the big thing too is like I said, in classic Brainiac, he's still a living organism. He's not a computer, although he has become like he's technically so smart that he is a living computer. So like I really don't think that because he's a living organism, unless Ultron has the ability to corrupt living beings, uh, Ultron couldn't take over him, and he might be able to take over some of his parts. But again, if Brainiac has become so perfect, he would have precautions to make sure he doesn't get hacked, and he would, as soon as he detects something, he would instantly force it out.
So I agree. But I think my thing is I think Brainiac is going to underestimate Ultron at first.
Definitely.
He's gonna take over some of his systems. Brainiac's then going to realize the threat potential now, and then remove the threat without a problem.
Hmm.
Um, I think when it comes to like sheer force, when I'm talking, so because realistically, it's going to come down to whose AI is stronger, like whose
Oh, yeah.
mental, right? And I believe Brainiac's is going to be better. However, like when you go into the fighting part of it all, I'm not confident who's actually going to win the physical fight.
I think they're both threats for physical. I definitely
I
think
think they're
that.
equal. Like I agree
Yeah.
with you on that one. But that being said, when it comes to because that's not going to be the deciding factor of that battle at all. It's going to come down to who can outsmart the other one slash beat the other one, and I feel like the only one that could do that is Brainiac consistently.
Yeah.
All
No,
right, perfect.
definitely.
We're gonna do one more, Mike.
One more? Okay.
One more, and then we'll do your character spotlight.
Sounds good to me.
So this is an interesting one. This one is one I never would have thought of. So this is kind of like a twofa. So it's one DC character, two Marvel characters. We'll do them separate. You'll understand what I mean.
Okay,
So
I'm
it's
interested.
Batman
Okay.
up against Moon Knight, and then separately Wolverine.
Interesting.
Yep. So separately, so not together because they would be unfair. So let's
That
go
would
with the
definitely be
Wolverine.
unfair.
Let's go with Wolverine first. I feel like Wolverine's winning.
Yeah, I think Wolverine wins. I don't think Batman has any ability that or any form of knowledge that can neutralize Wolverine because he definitely won't be able to kill him. Um, and
His
so like
knockout gas won't last long,
yeah, hey, there's no way he has anything that could neutralize him.
and he's got nothing that can keep him contained because of the adamantium.
Yeah. I mean, the only way that he could do it is if he had figured out a way, which he wouldn't like. He wouldn't be able to figure out a way in such a short span is to remove the adamantium from Wolverine, which
He wouldn't be able to do without incapacitating him to begin with, and I don't think he'd
yeah,
be able to do so.
the only thing that he could is if he has on him, which typically he definitely does not, is like a collar like the a metahuman dampener.
Yep.
That would be the only way, and that's not something that Batman has readily available.
No, I agree. I just thought that was interesting because they gave him two counterparts, which I thought was interesting. Um, but anyway, Moon Knight I think is much more up Batman's alley.
I think that one's a little bit more of a fair fight.
So my thing is right. So Batman's smarter, 100%.
Yep,
Moon Knight more powerful.
he's definitely more powerful.
He's got similar gadgets,
Yeah,
right? And they
I
both
think
like
I think Batman has a better uh, skill set. Just because of how much he is trained.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to argue that one. I think you're right on that. I think Batman's definitely more trained, but I also wondered too because I'm wondering if it's very similar to like the wisdom of Solomon, where like when you become the Avatar, do you have all their
Like
wisdom?
he takes his knowledge. So because what's his name has basically been alive
Been
forever.
around since the start of the time. Yeah, that's the only thing that I question. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go with it doesn't because of how like he talks with him, yes, and like he might give pointers and stuff like that, but it's not instinctual where he's like got it in his head already. You know what I mean? Like he's
he's
kind
not
of
the one controlling the fight.
yes, yeah, and I think that's the big thing there, and I think that's the bigger factor. I think I think Batman wins, but I don't think Batman wins easily
No, no,
because
definitely not. I
they're
think it's
basically
definitely a close fight.
it's equal in martial arts, I would say, in the sense of like he's trained. He also is physically stronger than Bruce, so he could do some damage without Bruce realizing in the very beginning. Because I would guarantee that Bruce might think that he's a regular human.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um, the other thing too is it really depends on the split personality we get.
also true. Yep.
But I think no matter what, all those variants of him are going to give Batman a hard time, regardless. Even
Yeah,
Mr. Moon.
yeah. No,
Um,
I think I mean the split personality would throw him off because then it's, different styles, different aggression, and all that other stuff.
Well,
Um,
that's the thing. Like he gets used to fighting with one of them, and then all of a sudden the other one comes in. It's a completely different fighting style, and it's not like. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh shoot, like what's going on?
I think it would just throw him off at first, but because Batman is so smart, he would
I think once he
once he
saw all
sees it.
three, like once he
Yeah,
saw all of them, he would then be fine. But I think there's the potential that that could also take him out.
yeah. If he doesn't pick it up fast enough, then that
And
would
depending
be
on which
detrimental.
one comes out, because one of them is okay to kill right away.
Hmm.
Um, so like that's a factor too. I still think Batman wins on this one. Um I don't think he wins as often as I think he
I
should.
think if if there's 100 fights, I think Batman wins maybe 60-40 or even 55-45. It'll be very close.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
Like I think he wins most of the time, but I don't think he wins a lot of the time. Like I know it
yeah,
sounds weird to say, but like he definitely wins a majority of the time. But like I wouldn't be surprised if it was like something stupid like 51-49. Like
yeah, yeah.
just because the the they both use the same abilities, let's say, in the sense of like gadgets, fist to fist, you know what I'm saying? And so because of that, although Batman's more trained, right,
They're pretty much equal.
they're pretty much equal because what he's not trained in, meaning Moon Knight, he has the physical strength to back it up.
Yep.
Where Bane, it's a little bit different because Bane's just a hulking being at one point. Moon Knight is not in that way where he's able to maneuver just like Batman does, potentially better in some ways because of his super strength. But you
Hmm.
understand the point I'm making,
Yeah.
and yeah. So I'm very curious on that one. But I'm gonna agree with you. Excuse me, sorry. I'm gonna lean on the side of Batman winning that fight as well.
Yeah. No, I think like basically everything you said. It's going to be close. Things that Batman has to get adjusted to, which if he's given the chance in the fight, he will get adjusted to.
Agreed.
Um, and it's honestly, at the end of the day, if Moon Knight can catch Batman off guard and kill him quick, then obviously he wins. But if Moon Knight cannot and the fight drags on, Batman wins.
Yeah, I think his third personality that we get introduced in Moon Knight, the end of Moon Knight,
Mm,
that is the only one that would, I think, be able to do it. And I don't mean like the others couldn't kill Batman. I think they wouldn't do it right away. I think that third personality would, in a heartbeat, without even questioning it, like he'd go for the kill first.
yeah, yeah. No,
That would
that
be
one obviously is the most aggressive one, and that one is the one that wants to just finish the fight immediately. So
correct.
I
So,
I, I agree.
and that one's going to be, I think that personality is going to be the deciding factor. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So that is going to be the end of the counterpart stuff. We can save the rest for another time when there's downtime and stuff like that. But for right now, I thought that was kind of cool to do it that way because there's also other ones that they had too, like corporations that are similar to each other.
Oh, okay.
For example, and we will just probably discuss it another time. But Oscorp versus LexCorp,
Meh, meh, meh.
Stark Industries versus LexCorp, things of that nature, right? But it would actually be Stark Enterprises versus Wayne
Stark
Enterprise.
Stark Industries versus Wayne Enterprise.
Thank you. I mixed up the two. But you knew what I meant. So my whole thing
Yeah.
is like, and those will be things we'll discuss at another time. But I thought those were kind of cool. But yeah, so let's get right into your character spotlight.
Yep. So my character spotlight for this week um, was a character that we saw in the Cape Crusader series. Um,
Okay.
this character was first introduced in Detective Comics back in 1977, and he is Rupert Thorne. So in the show, he was kind of the back figure that was kind of manipulating everything. And I figured when the show first came out, I was actually going to use him as the spotlight character, but I held off because I didn't know if they were going to reveal more of him as the show progressed. So I just went a different direction. But Thorne is a corrupt politician. He with extensive times to organize crimes, and he himself wants to become a crime boss himself.
A crime what? I'm sorry?
Crime boss.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Um, Dr. Phosphorus blackmails him with evidence of his crimes, with trying to turn the city against Batman. Eventually, Phosphorus is defeated, um, and he uses this as to not waste his opportunity and use his power to declare Batman as an outlaw to the city council. Basically, he tries to gain complete control over Gotham by becoming mayor, but his mayor run for mayor failed. Not even gonna try that right now. So as time progresses, down the road, Hugo Strange discovers the secret identity of Batman and decides to play a little game where he gives, not really a game, but he makes an auction to the villains of Gotham. Whoever wins the auction gets to win the identity of
Batman.
wins the identity of Batman. So of the three, there were three top bidders. It was Penguin, Thorn, and Joker.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Joker only wanted it so nobody would know it, correct?
Yeah, usually.
Which is hilarious to think about.
Usually how that goes. um, so Thorn didn't want to play that game, so he ends up kidnapping Strange and torturing him to reveal the identity of Batman. This fails. Strange ends up dying in captivity of Thorn, and after this, Thorn goes into hiding, and he is haunted by the ghost of Strange, which constantly torments him and completely messes with him. After this, yet again, Thorn failed at his campaign to take out Batman. He eventually returns to Gotham, and he gets, instead of him becoming mayor, he gets someone on his payroll, Hampton Hill, to become mayor. And once he becomes mayor, he fires Commissioner Gordon and inserts Peter Pauling as commissioner. Eventually, Thorne learns that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and which actually he finds it by getting Vicky Vale gets a picture of Bruce Wayne getting dressed up as Batman. So that's how he gets the picture from Vicky Vale, and that's how he learns of it. Once he learns his identity, he hires Deadshot to try to kill Bruce Wayne, but that is unsuccessful. And when that is when he fails, Thorne tries to take out Deadshot because he doesn't want any ties. But before he could do that, the ghost of Strange manipulates him so much that he ends up going insane, and it ends up being revealed that the death of Strange was actually a lie. Strange faked his own death, so that way he can manipulate Thorne by pretending to haunt him. And because Strange manipulated him so much, the people that he was on his payroll, which was Hampton Hill as mayor and Pauling as commissioner, he thought that they were plotting against him. So he turned against them, kills them, but then eventually Batman captures Thorne and arrests him and sends him to Arkham. we learn years later, after this ends, years later, he appears again in 2006. So from 1977, he doesn't appear again until 2006. Excuse me. Where we find Thorn still locked up in prison. And actually, oh, sorry, he's not in Arkham. He's in Blackgate.
That makes more
The
sense.
only reason, so we learned that by because Dr. Phosphorus is looking for revenge, goes to try to kill him, and is unsuccessful. And then, again, years later, in Batman: The Three Jokers, Batman is going to visit Joe Chill, and while he's going to go find him, we yet again see Thorn locked up in Blackgate.
Well,
When was the
consistent with his prison
so
time.
the Three Jokers came out in 2020. So from 1977 to 2020, he is still locked up in Blackgate.
Yeah, but it's also been like weird timelines where it's like time might not have gone as far as as we think. Like not as much time has passed like in the real world as it did.
Oh yeah, obviously. But it's
but
just
it's still funny.
it's a
Yeah, he's been in
character's
jail since the 70s.
yeah, very long life sentence. We've seen him in other incarnations. Obviously, we've seen him in Cape Crusader, which seems like he's going to be playing a bigger role once season 2 comes out.
Why would
And
I?
then we
He
also
played a big role. He played a big role in the first one.
yeah. Well, okay. Let me put it like this: he's going to become even more prominent.
I would agree. Yep.
We also saw him in the Gotham by Gaslight movie.
Okay.
He was actually in that movie. He was a respected member of the Gotham Congress Council, Gotham Council, and he became interim mayor because of the Jack the Ripper killings. But we didn't see he wasn't it from that incarnation. We only saw a little bit of him, so we didn't really know if he was corrupt or not.
Okay.
I'm assuming so, but
fair enough.
So that is my character spotlight for this week.
All right, so next week we're going to be talking about the latest episode of Kite-Man Heal Yeah. We're going to come up with something else to do next week, but right now it completely disappears from me. Mike and I will discuss off camera probably this week to discuss what we're going to be doing in the next week's episode. But for now, it's going to be definitely Kite-Man. Any trailers that pop up, the usual stuff, and then it'll be a character spotlight for me. But if you made it this far into the video, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Eel Podcast. Have a great night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.